All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the last session of the day, but the best session, I think, because we are wrapping it up and we're going to finish strong. And we're so excited to have Amy Vickers here with us today. Just a couple of housekeeping things for you. Go ahead and say hello in the chat. I'm sure Amy would love to see everybody, where you're from. Maybe also share your position so that you can kind of get a sense of where you're coming from and what your position is within your program. Don't forget to complete the sketch form at the end of the Institute today. If you're having issues locating that, let me know in the chat. I can send that to you directly, but it's great to see everybody. Thanks for staying tuned for our last session. It's so great to see so many people. And I will step back here and turn it over to Amy Vickers. She is an academic success and math instructor at Nicolet College in Wisconsin. And she's also the past president of the Adult Numeracy Network. And so as I was looking for possible opportunities and sessions to connect with for our Institute, I thought that this would be a great connection to make, lots of resources. And from what I hear, she's got a little bit of great little kind of brainstorming and team building that we're going to be doing together. So appreciate that on a Friday afternoon and appreciate you all staying engaged with us. And if you've got questions or comments, she's inviting you to put those into the chat as well. And we'll just have that conversation. So welcome everybody, and I'll turn it over to Amy. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you everyone for being here, for talking about math on a Friday afternoon. I'm trying to bring my best high energy here for because I know you've been at a conference for a few days. So thanks for putting your introductions in the chat. So let's see, let me just get organized here. So as Patrick said, I'm Amy Vickers. I work at Nicolet College and in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. And this session is called The Adult Numeracy Network is Here for You, because I just think this is a very exciting time to be in math education, regardless of the level that you teach. And from spending time with the Adult Numeracy Network, I'm the past president and involved in many things there. I've just really found that plugging into that energy of the other math educators has truly been a high point for me over the past couple of years when I really needed that support, needed ways to be positive and creative with people. So I'm glad that you're all here. Let's see, the 43. This is good. We can have a good conversation with this number of people. So the Adult Numeracy Network is here for you. And I want to say that even if you don't teach adults, the Adult Numeracy Network is here for you. We certainly learn from K-12, and you'll see that on our website. And so I would say anyone interested in the ideas of math being for everyone, in finding creative ways to look at math, in being interested in other people's perspectives about math, that if any of those things are you, then the Adult Numeracy Network is here for you. Let's see. So this afternoon, I thought we could do these things. Let's learn about the Adult Numeracy Network, ANN. Let's do some math. And let's discuss how to center learner experiences. So here, I'm going to go ahead and put our website into the chat. For those of you who are able to do many things at once, that is our website. And there are way too many things there for us to be able to look at all of them in 1 hour. So if you just want to go ahead and start looking at things, find what interests you, then you please feel free to do that. So I hope that you can see how some of the resources that we have on the ANN website could help you with your teaching practice. Okay, but first introductions, and so we're already doing the right thing here. So the only thing that I would add to, so I'm going to take a second now and scroll through the introductions that you typed. But if you just would like to add something about your interest in math into the chat, then please feel free to do that as well. I just want to take a moment and look a little bit about who's here and what roles you are in. I appreciate the participation. I appreciate that you're typing into the chat. It matters for those of you who teach online, you know that. Mhm. Okay, in the chat now I'm seeing about math anxiety. Okay, looking to get officially certified in secondary math. So I went to school for math after I was already in adult education. So I studied adult ed first, worked there for several years, and then studied more math. So I did something similar. GED math. That GED math test is often the last one to get done. Yes. Yeah. So, as I'm reading what you're saying here, it's like, how can we just not repeat what already hasn't worked for them, right? How can we offer something different to students, new doorways, new ramps into math so that students can make it their own? Yeah, and how can it be not just about the anxiety, but how could maybe students even express themselves through math? How could they learn about their own thinking through math? All right, thank you so much for all that you're typing in. I'm in no way keeping all the way up with it, but I appreciate your what you're sharing is familiar to me from my work in adult education. Okay, so just to do like a basic introduction of the Adult Numeracy Network. So first, this isn't on here, but I want to say this. The Adult Numeracy Network is a volunteer-run organization. We're pretty grassroots, and it's quite an awesome time because if a person just has an idea, then they can pretty much just do that idea. They can just gather a group of people and then do that idea. In fact, we had an art show this week, and I saved that for the end, but if we have time, then I can show you some pictures from our virtual art show that we just did. So the Adult Numeracy Network is an affiliate of NCTM. So what is NCTM? This is your quiz question. Will someone type in the chat, what is NCTM? I know your fields have generalists in them, so some people may not be familiar with NCTM. What is it? Thank you, Jen. National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. And a very excellent, yes, Anne, you are correct. Excellent resource. So we are an affiliate of NCTM. We're the adult education branch. So we are the professional organization for math educators who work in adult education in the United States. We can be found at adultnumeracynetwork.org. Here, I'll put that in one more time. So that's our website. We're also, we have a pretty great Twitter person in charge of our Twitter account. So we're at Adult Numeracy 1 on Twitter, or you could just search for us. So that is us for the beginning. Okay, so now that kind of you have a little bit of a big picture, I would like to talk about, I want us to do some math together. So the Adult Numeracy Network Professional Development Principle number 1 says that professional development begins with teachers as mathematics learners and thinkers. And this was really something that got my attention and has kept my attention about with ANN. So we often are doing math together, and that doing math in friendly environments with creative people can really change a person. I'll say that it can be very positive. So I'm going to offer us a prompt here. Okay, so on the screen, there are 2 numbers in boxes. You can see 5/10ths and you can see 25/100ths. And my questions for you are, looking at these 2 numbers, what is the same about them? And then what is different? Thank you, Brian, for starting us off. Both are decimals. Awesome. So in case you're not familiar with questions like this isn't a trick. I'm not trying to do anything tricky. I'm truly asking what's the same and what's different. And there are 100 answers at least to both of those questions. So what are you seeing? Both have a 0 and a 5. Both have a 5 and are a fraction divisible by 5. They have different values. That's very legit, Sharon. Sharon? Totally, they have different values. They are between 0 and 1. They are less than 1. Now, when you are typing, put same colon and then different colon, so we can keep track of, like, is this the same thing or is this a different thing about them? So start adding that now, please. So something that's different is they have different fractions. Oh, okay. They are the same in that they are related to quarters and money. They have measuring cups named after them. That's something the same. Okay, something different. Okay, there are more numbers in one than the other. Sharon, okay, thanks. All right, so what is the same and what is different? These are awesome answers. They are different because one is a half and one is a quarter. One is half the value of the other. So they're different. Here, one that I thought about this, one that I came up with that I liked is, if you think of them as percentages, with one of them, what you save is the same as what you pay, but with the other one, what you save is different than what you pay. Rational numbers, both are rational numbers. So many things. One is a factor of the other. Okay, so if you have any last minute things that you need to type that are on your mind, please do that. We'll wrap this up, but I see there is a huge cascade of ways that these 2 decimals are the same and different. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for your ideas. Okay, so this is an instructional routine that you can this is one of many examples that are on the Adult Numeracy Network webpage. Isn't 0.5 the square of 0.25? So someone, now let's stick with this for a second. Someone asked a question in the chat. Could someone answer, Sharon? Do they agree or disagree, and help her? So Melissa says yes. So what is, Mary Beth says it is the square root. So maybe it's maybe one of these is the square, maybe one is the square root. Does someone want to unmute themselves? And okay, so Joel showed it as the equation. 0.5 squared equals 0.25. Okay, Joel and Melissa are saying the same. Is anyone not convinced about what Joel and Melissa are saying? Or would anyone just like it explained more clearly or in more detail? Are you just testing it in your calculators? I can't understand it very well with decimals. Okay, good. Thanks, Lillian. Joel or Melissa, could you unmute yourself and help Lillian just explain where you got how you know that?
Well, I immediately, as soon as I saw the first comment, I typed into my calculator 0.5 squared, and when I pressed equal, it was 0.25. And then upon, furthering this, I did the square root of 0.25 and it gave me 0.5. So I was able to, oh, it's not going to work because my screensaver.
Oh, you're trying to hold it up. Okay.
But it didn't work. But yeah, so both ways it worked out. I
get it. So you did it and then you undid it and it worked in both directions. Yes. So thank you, Melissa. Could someone give a more of a conceptual understanding explanation? Okay, Mike, Mike is talking about a half times a half. To him it's more obvious. Mike, why is it that more obvious to you? Do you mind to unmute yourself and explain?
I can.
Okay.
If I looked at these decimals, 1/2, 0.5, times itself, 0.5, is 0.25, which is 1/4. But the way that someone equates when they see a decimal, do they put it in their head as a fraction or do they look at it as a decimal?
What is your name? Your screen.
I'm sorry, Kathy.
Kathy. Okay. Thank you, Kathy. You said you started talking about fractions. So you made me think, oh, and then
0.5 is the equivalent to a half. All right. So if I multiplied half by half, I get a quarter. 1/4, right?
And I think, and I want to add that the idea
1/2 of 50 is 25.
A half. Yes. Yes to all of that. A half of 50 cents is 25 cents. 1/2 of 1/2 is 1/4. All of I'm seeing the math that you're doing in the chat. That's good. Mike, thanks to the no microphone. I see that. Oh, interesting. So Sharon's seeing connections, kind of taking it out of the decimal realm and thinking about it. Yeah, strip away the decimal and then do the math. So some flexibility there. Um, okay, so thank you. And thank you especially to the person who asked the question. So was it Lillian? Are you more convinced now? Can you type in the chat or speak up? Are you more convinced of the answer that 0.5 squared is equal to 0.25? Okay, good. I'm glad. Cool. Thank you, everyone. This was pretty fun. Yeah, money is math that's more available to many people's brains. All right, so let's continue with let's reflect a little bit on the instructional routine that we just did together. So in the chat, what math topics came up? During just with that one prompt, what are some topics? Awesome. Inverse operations, square roots and exponents. And then I think, oh, do all operations have inverse? I wonder. Converting decimals, fractions, money. Yes. Doing and undoing decimal fractions, money. Yes. Multiplying fractions and decimals. Awesome. Mental math. Yes. I'm thinking about also measurement. Someone talked about measuring cups. All right, so place value, excellent. Yes, comparison. So then I think, oh, it's like a number line. Okay, so many, maybe division. Mike is saying division question mark, depending on how you see it. So we can say many math topics came up. What mathematical reasoning skills were used as you thought through this? And I just put the math practices there to inspire you, to remind you about some math reasoning and communication skills. So which of these reasoning or communication skills did we use? Or others is fine too. Yeah. Yes to number one, make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. Or if you can think of some kind of a skill that was used that isn't on here, please list that too. Use appropriate tools. We're using calculators. I have a pencil in my hand right now. Number 8, to look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning, like, how does this work? Mike's using a slide rule. Yes, peer feedback. Thank you. Number 3 is my favorite. This is off topic, but math practice 3 is my favorite. Like, I just could do all my classes just off of that. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I felt like we were collaborating. I felt like people had different ideas and some people knew some things and some people knew other things, but I felt collaborative with this group while we were looking at that. Yeah, critiques were kind, right? We're just trying to figure things out together. All right, so then next final reflection question is, how could a prompt like this center learner experiences? How does or how could? How are we centering learner experiences? Okay, so while you're thinking, I want to explain. Yeah, Connie, thank you. Okay, you're there. Tapping into already known information. What knowledge does that learner bring to the classroom? Everyone's bringing something different. They can bring it to answer this question. Yes, there are many answers, so there's not that pressure to get the right answer, which is like the teacher answer. It's not copying the teacher. It's not like to please the teacher. It's to truly use your mind and have an authentic experience with your own brain. Makes them think. Yeah, Mike's talking about how the teacher can focus the topics and stay on the topic desired, right? There can be like an orchestration of all the student input with questions like this. Yep, open-ended. Yes. I like that, Brian. Thank you. Allows them to see their strengths. It is absolutely the case that someone could have a story with this that they could share with the class that no one else would know, but it would really bring understanding for everyone. Yeah. Excellent. This could lead into the decimal lesson plan. Yeah, for sure. It makes people, questions like this, I believe, make people wonder more about a topic. All right, so next, we'll just do like a little bit of recap about this experience. So this is an instructional routine. This is one of many, many on our website. And instructional routines are specific and what they are is hidden behind the chat box and your all's faces. So instructional routines are specific and repeatable designs for learning that support both the teacher and students in the classroom, enabling all students to engage more fully in learning opportunities while building crucial mathematical thinking habits. Just by reading that, the word that came to my mind was respect. Like, we're respecting all learners with instructional routines as being someone who is bringing something to the table. I also like that it allows me as the instructor to focus on the math with my students and not focus on points or not focus on I don't know, just like keeping track of the rules or something, but we're really focused on the math. Oh, hold on. All right, so instructional routines. A well-designed instructional routine opens up conversations and thinking about mathematics that might not happen by themselves. So here I want to focus on the idea of well-designed. I use instructional routines mainly to not really as warm-ups in class, but to like draw out potential sticky points and spend some time with them. So hold on, I'll type this into the chat, but well, I'll just say it out loud. If you have a -5 that's squared, -5 exponent 2, or you could have a -5 in parentheses and then squared, and kind of look closely at how those things are the same and how they're different. That would be an example of where I would design an instructional routine very specifically to help like uncover some points that I know will be tricky for students. Okay, so why use them? We've talked about many of these things, but just to wrap this up, open-ended questions like this can have a low floor and high ceiling. So students of many levels of confidence, many levels of math skills can participate in this in a meaningful way. These conversations make the math visible, build mathematical habits of mind, develop vocabulary, again, I'm so glad someone asked a question in the chat, because then we had to kind of sort things out together. And then that brings that precision of language that's needed. Yeah, and then the generalization and making use of structure, like, oh, this works in this other place. Does it work here? I wonder. And then, as a group, you could investigate that. And then these can be open-ended questions, can be used as formative and summative assessments. Okay, so thank you again for your participation in that activity. And as I have said, there are at least 100 other things going on the website that you could try. But I wanted you to get a feel for some of the math experiences that are available there, because I think that's the most powerful way to understand their value. So here, let's just switch gears a little bit. I just want to talk about the organization of the Adult Numeracy Network again. So these are some things that are available through ANN. You can see on the calendar and the newsletter are available. You have to be a member for those, but the website is open for everyone. Let's see, I want to highlight a couple of things here. So we offer, I'll just start with the calendar. So can you just type in the chat, are you familiar with, do you go to the COABE conference, Coalition on Adult Basic Education? It's a National Adult Education Conference, and we do a pre-conference there every year. So we call it the Teaching and Learning Institute. So there's a half-day pre-conference. I think it's a half day this year, and virtual and face-to-face. So if you want, that would be a good way to keep continuing with. It's like, if you like this, then go to pre-conference. We are connected with the New York Math Teacher Circle and have meetings through there. We have committees, many different levels in which you can participate. We offer practitioner research stipends. So 1 or 2 per year, we'll give a grant to a teacher and then support them as they go through that process of developing a question and investigating that question in their classroom and then reporting out on it. You can see in the info about ANN, I mentioned the professional development principles. We also have teaching and learning principles, which are awesome guides. And then there are many, as I said, many levels at which you could be involved. Speaking of, I noticed that we do not have a state rep for Michigan. So if someone's looking for a fun volunteer job, we need a state rep for Michigan. So Sharon, can I join Nctm? So Nctm the answer is yes, you can. It is a different, just joining Nctm is a different joining than joining ANN, but I would recommend both. And feel free to, if anyone has comments about that, or if your experience, feel free to type that in the chat to help Sharon. On our website, we have many teaching resources, instructional routines, virtual manipulatives, a very awesome section about social justice with math, a strong emphasis on math and art. And then the newsletter is the kind of physical thing that goes to members. Well, by physical, I mean an email, but it's 3 times a year we send out the newsletter. So this is just some things to know about ANN. At this point, I kind of want to switch over to the website, and And then Ingrid, I wonder if I could have you share first, and then we can see if other people found things that they want to share. Ingrid, do you mind to unmute yourself and say hi?
Yes, no problem. Hello, everyone. Amy contacted me to share a little bit of how I was trying to remember how I found Adult Numeracy Network. It's pretty likely that that I went to one of those COAB networking or little workshops that they have, and I just fell in love with it. And one of the things, I'm a manager of, as some of you know, of the high school equivalency program here at Michigan State University. And all of my staff are part-time, so they actually don't have time to look for resources. And many times they come to me with some issues that they're having in the classroom. All of our classes are online, and as you can see, it can be very lonely in Zoom because you don't hear anybody. And so that was kind of the main, one of the main issues that we were having. And so how can we get our students to be more engaged and talk to each other and so on and so forth. So that's how I started bringing some of these ideas that are in the website, and some of the teachers. Our program is very fortunate to have a math interventionist. So she also brings in her expertise, but she also loved the website and some of the ideas and kind of summarizing some of these, because there's a lot there. And so that's how we've been using it, especially with the which one doesn't belong. And I really like, so the which one doesn't belong is the four squares where you put different things and how they're different or the same. I like the smaller version of the only two. And so it doesn't get overwhelming for the students. And so, yeah.
Hey, Ingrid, may I interrupt about that?
Of course.
So I want to share, since you said all of that, I actually copied my numbers from, it's just 2 out of which one doesn't belong. And then I changed, because I also really like which one doesn't belong. But then I decided to use the question down here of same or different. So I guess I was using both of those resources.
Yeah, for sure. You can mix and match. It's such a fun, I wish I had more time to explore more of the resources that are there, but I kind of do it as some issues come up in our classrooms. Yeah. So yeah, that has been our experience, and we 80% of our students are Spanish speakers. So many times we have kind of, and some of you have heard me, that have trouble looking for resources that are either culturally relevant or have or are translated correctly. And so with math, it's pretty much global, so you don't have to have any cultural relevancy here, but things that are relatable to our students and our student body. And so math can be pretty global, so it's kind of fun to explore it.
Thank you. And so to that point, so I don't think we don't have resources in Spanish, I don't believe, though there are many things, so we might. But I do think that even just the activity that we did, what if you have students, what I have practiced is using student lives as the center of the math that we're looking at. So what if you could give a task to students, take a picture of a number that you see somewhere, and take a picture with your phone and email it to me, or however you communicate with your students. But so then you have this gallery to work with, and then you can, what if you did that activity we just did, but with a speed limit sign, and then like a sale sign, or it says your lives, like math is really for you. It's not a school. It's not something that is a school thing, that is a thing that is separate from the rest of your life. So I'm not sure if I follow researchers who talk about rehumanizing mathematics, and it's like that's all I want to do now, because there's this false understanding that like school math is different, and that got constructed over time, and we don't have to do that. We can use everybody's lives to find the math and to ask questions, and so I hope you can find some resources to do that here. So let's see, did anybody find something, those of you who are good at doing many things at once, did any of you come upon something that got your attention that you wanted to bring up? Because we could do that. We have a few minutes. So speak up if you if you found something that you wanted to share. Let's see in the chat what's happening. Yeah,
know
visual.
someone, oh, sorry, Amy. I was just gonna say, I know someone had shared about the manipulatives a couple of times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Let's see. Right here, virtual manipulatives. So we just accept online learning as one of the realities that we have, and so I have a drawer full of hands-on stuff right behind me for learning, but there's all kinds of awesome virtual manipulatives, so you can decide what makes sense for your learners. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to like think about how the scrolling looks to you. So you can, this is very interactive. You can see many choices here for what to look at. I use Desmos a lot. I don't have a lot of experience with the Desmos activities. I use the Desmos graphing calculator with algebra students, so we can investigate things. And so I can say, what do you notice about, can you make two parallel lines on that screen? Can you make them parallel? Try. Okay, what's working? And then we can have that conversation with an online class. Let's see. This social justice and math section is robust, is what I would say. So I would just like to direct you here if this is an area of interest for you. And I feel like the scrolling with the group is kind of maybe is making you all have stomach aches, but the web team has put a lot of work into making this a robust collection, and in my view, they've done a really good job. Art, math in public spaces. We were all excited about sidewalk math for a while. And then I want to show you this little play area. There's a lot, the person who brought up the virtual manipulatives, most of these things, maybe all of them are interactive. So there can be some inspiration here maybe for you or your students. All right, Joel's is noticing the math and with art section. Yes, the diversity section. Yeah, it's there's a lot here. So I'm looking at the time. So we have a few minutes. Is anybody wondering something or wanting to share something out loud? If you have any kind of random feeling questions, feel free to chat them now or ask them out loud. Connie, can this site be given to students? So I think this is just open on the internet, so it's for everyone. I would just think about the goal that you had in mind when you thought about giving it to students. Like because sometimes, I'm thinking about when you go to the store and there's like 500 choices of cereal, and then it's just overwhelming, and then that's hard to take in. So that this might feel like that to students, but if I would just direct students to what you want them to look at. But I could think of this play section, that it would be really fun to send students there. And but really it's directed at teachers. The main audience, I would say, is teachers. Okay, has anyone done the math trail with students? So I have not. Has anyone else here done it? I've seen a video about it, but I haven't done it myself. All right, so let's so I think let's just keep moving for the last session. We don't need to, it's okay if we're done a few minutes early. Kathy, were you about to say something? Okay. So I'd like to go back to the slideshow and just say that so as I said, this is quite an exciting time to be in math education, or to have math education be part of your work. As I hope you can see with what I've shared, but also I want to share that we're always creating new events, as people, and I said this a little before, but with ANN, it's a great community, because if someone is inspired to do something, they just get a couple friends, and we have a Zoom account, so we can be really open about what we offer to our members, or the committee work that we decide to work on. So we've done a couple community series projects this year. So it's been, the topic of both have been math for identity and belonging. And we just thought we needed to dive into this. So they were actually built off of 2 classroom activities that I did with students here. And then I felt like I loved the results that I got. And so I thought it would be pretty terrific to do those same activities with educators. So we've done a couple different things on math for identity and belonging. And what we do is we meet, like this art show that I'm about to show you about. We met for 7 weeks, over just like one night a week, and so could have an ongoing project together. So the task for this group was to find some data from your life that you would like to track, and then represent it in some creative way. So with students, I've had students crochet blankets, and so many things, make paper chains, and someone was making a bracelet, just all these creative ways to represent data. So we did that with teachers. And so we just had our art show this week. So over the past 7 weeks, we've been making our art and collecting our data. So I just want to show you, in conclusion, I just want to show you some of the art that we made. So there are two slides of this. So I won't talk about all of this, but that's mine in the upper left. Those 3 hanging sculptures, the 3 hanging sculptures are mine, which is really just one hanging sculpture. But what I did was I tracked the day length, and I used a flat circle to be equal 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. And then whenever it was less than that, so it was all less than that so far, I would cut out of the circle the number of minutes short of 12 hours, I would remove that many degrees from the circle. So then I was making these cones, and the cones would gradually, they were flattening out. And so I don't know if you can see that as you get toward the top of the sculpture, then the cones are flattening out because we're getting closer and closer to equal day and night. And so that was what I tracked, and that's how I represented my data, and it was so fun. It was super amazing. And then you can see some of the other art that people made here. And then here's the rest of them. So we had eight of us participated in this. People are tracking wind, they're tracking feelings, they're tracking stress, and then many other things, and then representing it creatively. So I just had to share this because it just happened this week, and it was like, I feel super excited about it. So that's our art show. That's what's happening. And that is all that I have for you. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. I encourage you to get involved in some way. If any of these things inspired you, when you're inspired, then you can inspire your students. And maybe you're not sure about your relationship with math. Maybe you are skeptical or just putting your toes in the water. And if that's the case, then we really want to welcome you, because it's really awesome to see people grow into see what kind of a mathematician they can become. So feel free to join, feel free to just look at the website, feel free to send me an email and tell me something cool that you did, just to talk with each other about ways that you can open math up like this. And I think what I'll say is I'll just stick around in case if someone wants to talk about something, I'll stick around. But that is all I have for you. I hope that you have a good weekend. I appreciate your participation today.
Thank you so much, Amy. We so appreciate you and being here, and you all have blown my mind already with your math skills. Math was not my one of my favorite subjects. I can write a paper like no other and put something into words, but I was following along. I took my little notes here about how my 0.5 and 0.25. So thank you. So thank you so much for doing this, and really just appreciate you sharing all these resources. We'll stay connected, and thank you for supporting us and everyone here. And like Amy said, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.